dark, enclosed forest, opening up, granite, heather, birch tree, climbing, gorse, streams, scree, fort, vista. The first sort of stage of the walk, you approach through a forest of larch and other conifers, and then it opens up and there's about 3 different routes that converge all together, and off to the right you see the next sort of phase of the path, which takes you through an old sort of Caledonian forest with birch trees and rowan trees and heather with big granite stones. The path's really well maintained, and it's a beautiful walk even if you just stop at the end of that part of the walk. The second part of the walk takes you up from the sort of ground level, starting to go up the incline, and you can see the landscape changing from sort of heathers and rocks to more scrub and marshy. You see mosses, maybe a little stream, and then it starts to incline up to the last part of the walk. The last section of the walk takes you right up to the top of the Mither Tap, which has a vitrified fort on the top, and that's sort of scree-like consistency with stones and the odd sort of wildflower. And then you skirt around the top and approach it from the north side to get to the trig point, and you get to see the full 360 degrees view of Aberdeenshire.
My memories of being on Wincobank Hill, being young, I remember building tree houses with friends from school. We used to make traps on the floor, cut big squares out of the ground, put twigs over them and branches, and hope that we were going to trap bears or something, I don't know. That's what we used to do when we were like kids playing up there, like before, well, about 10-year-old, I suppose. After, when I got like in my teenage years, a few of us made a death slide out of wire rope. Anyway, Freda's jumps on it, and it collapsed. All wooden block come to bits, and one of us fell on the floor. We must have all landed on him or something, but he broke his arm. He snapped his collarbone. Anyway, I can remember running all the way up to his house and telling his mother, because last time I saw him, he was like laid on the floor. I thought he were dead. Like, I'm saying he's laid out. I don't know what I mean. A bit scared out that what had happened to him. Anyway, it turned out he just broke his collarbone, but I don't think we used it after that.
Hillfort. Often hear motorbikes when walking the dog. They come so fast that I am afraid they will knock into us.
When I was up on the hill fort, I met 2 middle-aged ladies who told me about playing on the hill as children. and one of them showed me scars from scratches she got from the bushes. And she really was disappointed that her children never have access to play and have fun.
Well, when I first moved here and we went for a walk, I walked round where the flower estate had been demolished, and it looked really bleak. There were just gateposts sticking up through the undergrowth and bits of debris, and then walking up into the woods we found a burnt out car. Well, we've been picking up bits of scrap metal and glass all over the hill ever since, but it's getting an awful lot better now.
I just love it up here. It's peaceful, although you can hear the traffic going past. We've got fantastic views of the city, and that's grown over the years. We used to bring the cubs up here every year. It was an annual event that we hiked up here every year from our headquarters in the centre of the estate. We used to come to see the church. We used to go and do lots of things around the graveyard, to look for the oldest grave, to do rubbings, that sort of thing. There's a lot of respect in those days. The boys would never step on a grave. It would always be walking around, and we sort of made sure that it was hushed voices, because it was, you know, you had to be respectful. It was somebody's last resting place. And it's devastating to see it today, especially coming up here today and seeing more vandalism done. But you know, we're just going to have to ride that through, and hopefully something will be done about it. But you can see that church tower as you come along the big bypass. You can see the tower, and it's iconic. It stands out. You go into July Park, you can see the tower. It's got to stay there, and whatever these vandals do, we've got to keep it going, you know. It's just beautiful up here, absolutely beautiful. I mean, that's our city, isn't it?
We used to come up here with the Cubs and the Scouts. And in them days, this wasn't quite so grown up, and you did have a much more panoramic view from up here, looking right round. And then, of course, they put the bypass in, and for me, it spoilt it. You know, because it was a peaceful place, somewhere quiet to come up and enjoy those peaceful moments.
When I come up here, I probably would have not recollected much about it. It was just somewhere we were exploring as children. And of course we went further. We would sit in the church porch when it was a proper church. But you know, you treat it with due deference. You know. But the gravestones were more amenable then. You could read them and not fight your way through brambles and that.
In my late teens, 16 onward, for about 3 years, I would have bad solvent abuse. I used to sniff glue, petrol, all sorts of solvents, gas. Anyway, I got into a situation where I've been living like with relatives anyway since like, I don't know, 10 and 11 year old, and not at home like with my mum. But I found myself in a position where obviously it weren't acceptable for me to be doing this, abusing solvents. So I actually was living on Wincobank Hill for a few weeks. And what I did, I built myself like a bit of, put some branches around some trees and made like a bit of an enclosure, and I had an old mattress in it. It was summertime, so I didn't have a problem with it being cold or whatever. And while I've had my waking time, I was abusing solvents anyway. So, but I was laid on this mattress one day in summer in mid-afternoon, and I felt something prodding me bike. So I turned, well, I made a few grunts and whatever. Anyway, I turned round, and these 2 police officers stood there, and one of them was prodding me with his stick, and I told them to get off, like, do you know what I mean? In no certain terms, like. Anyway, I said, like, what's no, what I mean, I'm not doing nothing wrong. What's up? And he says, well, we've come down because we've been somebody's walked past one at Walker's walking a dog or whatever, and they'd reported they'd seen a body on a mattress. So that's why they come down to come and see me anyway.
I've been interested in the Bennachie Hill for many, many years, but my primary interest was really looking from a genealogical point of view. My grandfather, great-grandfather, going back, well back into history, came from this area. So I've been looking into the archives at Aberdeen University, and in one of the books there, I discovered at the back of the book 4 pages of blue notepaper on which the names of the colonists in 1859 were listed. And this was the earliest indication that anybody knew of who was actually living on the hill of Bennachie at that time. Prior to that, there were other families who were supposed to have been on the hill from the 1820s or thereabouts, but there was no actual written record until I discovered this piece of paper. And how that came about was that the local landlords, the local estate owners, divided up the commonty of Bennachie. They were able to agree amongst themselves that the hill should be divided up amongst the different estates surrounding the hill. And from 1859, all the squatters who had been living on the hill had to then pay rent to these estate owners, and they had to abide by strict conditions of keeping their tenancy and doing various things to the land. And if they didn't do what they were told, they could be thrown off, which was not the case before 1859.